Andrew Brown is the owner and founder of Immediate Movers and Storage. He completed this interview on August 4th, 2026. Let's begin. We first asked Andrew what made him want to do the work he does. Andrew answered, "Ace Hardware is where I actually learned the job. Assistant manager sounds small on paper. I was running inventory counts, training new hires, and handling the customer who wanted a refund on something we didn't even sell. Something about that pace stuck with me. I didn't know why at the time. Years later, watching how many moving companies treated people, I couldn't ignore it. Late, overpromised, quoted one price and charged another. So, I started Immediate Movers and Storage to do the opposite. On purpose, I am still building toward that, honestly, some days more than others." Next, we asked Andrew to share 3 things that were surprisingly easy and 3 that were surprisingly difficult about running his business. He said, "Trust came easier than I expected. Show up on time, quote it straight, and people will notice." Word of mouth followed the same pattern, with barely any advertising in the first 2 years. Keeping a small crew tight was easy too. Everybody knew everybody back then. The hard stuff hit later. Scheduling around weather sounds minor until a snowstorm pushes 4 jobs into one afternoon and the phone won't stop. Retention's been the real fight. Good movers get poached constantly in this labor market. I've lost people I trained for a year over 50 cents an hour. Scaling from one truck to a fleet was its own animal. Systems that worked fine for 3 guys broke completely at 15, and I'm still patching some of that today. Then we asked Andrew what he likes most about his work. He answered, "Watching a client exhale once the last box is in the new place. That's the moment I look forward to every time. Building systems that hold up when I'm not standing there watching them. That one's harder to explain. It's more of a quiet satisfaction than a big one. Training a helper into a crew lead within a year. I've watched it happen 3 times. It still catches me off guard how fast some people grow into it." We also asked Andrew about his biggest weaknesses and how he's working to overcome them. Andrew explained, "I was the bottleneck for 4 years. Every schedule change went through me, every hire, every reroute. It cost us jobs, and I know it did. A client would call needing something same day, and nobody could confirm without me picking up the phone. I still catch myself wanting to approve things I don't need to approve. I'm not patient with underperformance either. Early on, that showed in ways that probably drove off good people. And honestly, I'm still working on the coaching not correcting part. Haven't fully cracked it." Pricing was the third one. I underpriced jobs for years out of fear of losing them. I finally ran the numbers and found we were leaving something like 12% margin on the table on long-distance moves. I fixed the pricing. I still wonder how many years that cost us before I looked. Next, we asked Andrew to tell us about a surprising outcome he never expected. He said, "One job always comes to mind. It was a 3rd-floor walk-up in Hammond with no elevator, and there was a piano nobody mentioned until the truck was already parked. That's the kind of job that used to mean me driving over there myself and dropping whatever I was doing. Instead, my crew lead handled it. He rerouted 2 guys from another job and had everything under control before I even finished my coffee. That caught me off guard. It showed me the systems I'd spent years building actually worked without me standing in the room. I didn't expect to feel a little useless about that, but I did, for about a day." Then we asked Andrew about the biggest challenge he faces each day. He answered, "Weather and traffic. That combination wrecks more schedules than anything else. One bad Chicago storm and 4 jobs back up into each other before noon. I build 30 to 40 minutes of buffer into every crew's day now. I learned that after one too many angry phone calls I had to take personally, and the office calls the customer the second we're running behind, not after they've had time to wonder where we are." We also asked Andrew about a habit that has made a real difference. He replied, "Every morning before the trucks leave, I walk the day's schedule with dispatch. 5 minutes, sometimes less. It catches the stuff that would otherwise blow up by noon, a truck that's not fueled, or a crew that's short a person. Since I started doing that every day, our on-time arrivals went from somewhere around 80% to over 95%. It's actually just a small habit, but it changed how the whole day runs." Next, we asked Andrew how he celebrates his victories. He answered, "We do a team lunch after a brutal month, somewhere they pick, not somewhere I pick. A bonus check gets cashed and forgotten by Friday, somebody standing up and saying, "You handled that piano move like a pro," that sticks. Longer than the money does, every time. I didn't expect that to be true when I started this, and it turned out to be the thing that actually works. Then we asked Andrew who his favorite motivational speaker is. He said, "Honestly, I've never been big into the stage and microphone motivational circuit. If I had to name someone, I'd point to Grant Cardone, not for the hype, but for the relentless focus on follow-through, doing the unglamorous work every day instead of waiting for the big break. That's much closer to how I actually run this business than anything I've read from the classic self-help crowd." We also asked Andrew what advice he would give his younger self. He answered, "Delegate 2 years earlier than you think you're ready to. I held on to scheduling, hiring, and even truck maintenance decisions long after I should have handed them off because I didn't trust anyone else to care as much as I did. Turns out I was wrong about that. Some of my best people care more about getting it right than I do now." Next, we asked Andrew if he is willing to mentor others. He said, "Yes. I already talk with a handful of people who are starting their own service businesses, and I'm open to helping more, especially operators trying to grow from one truck into a real company. The best way to reach me is through immediate movers and storage." Finally, we asked Andrew one question just for fun. "What's your favorite ice cream flavor?" Andrew answered, "Mint chocolate chip. No story there, it's just always been the one."